when you've got a team like that that's never lost, under your leadership, Coach Meyer's leadership, you've got a very confident team. So even if they, maybe it's a close game in the first half, they go in at halftime and they're, well, we've won 19 in a row. Like, we got to make these adjustments, and here's what we do, and we're confident that we're going to be, because they've done it before. And I think that's a testament to their coaching staff, and that's a testament to their players, that they take the adjustments, they go out and they play better in the second half. But you're right, that's something that, that's a big key for them in the last 2 games, and that's just something that they're doing well.
Coach Sheila, what have you seen out of Buckeyes running back Carlos Hyde? Because he's a guy, he's a hard runner. Might not get a lot of attention as compared to, say, Braxton Miller does, though.
He gets a lot of attention from us, I can tell you that. When we watch the tape, I mean, he's 6 feet tall, he's 240 pounds, he's a downhill runner. You better wrap him up. He had an unbelievable, I think, 19-yard touchdown run against Iowa last week where the guy hit him, he bounced off him, he kept his balance, and then he ran the rest of the way and dove into the end zone. I mean, it was just a great individual effort. So, he's obviously one of the better backs in the country. And, again, we've got to make sure that we wrap him up, that we tackle him. It's a huge challenge for us.
Bill, can you talk a little bit about Adam Geiger and his progress and why you put him in that role as a freshman?
Yeah, Adam's a guy that came in here as a freshman along with a couple other guys. I've talked about Von Walker, some of these guys, and there's others that came in here, and it wasn't too big for them. You could see in the Dirty Show scrimmages that they were playing well, and he was one of those guys that was running the ball well as a running back, and we were trying to get him involved in special teams. And then one day, I think a couple weeks ago, he came up to one of us, whether it was me or one of the other coaches, said, I'm a holder, I can hold too, and so we tried him out there, and he does a nice job. So it'll either be him or Alex Butterworth holding, because Alex is a good holder too. It's the fact that Alex has punting duties, you try not to put too much on his plate, but he's a good holder also. Ryan Kaiser, probably wouldn't be able to hold because of his injury, but Adam's done a nice job of going in there and filling that role.
Coach, we've talked a lot about the OSU defense and how good they are. They're also really good. Points allowed, less than 20, which in college football today is pretty astronomical. Do you feel like you have to manufacture any points in this game, whether it be on special teams, defense, maybe trick plays in order to put some points on the board?
I think that you're right. I think that they're an excellent defense that doesn't give up a lot of points, and we're putting together a game plan, and obviously we're going to show up Saturday night and do the best we can.
Hey Bill, a lot of fans would consider Ohio State to be Penn State's biggest rival in the Big Ten, and I was wondering, do you think it's important for you guys to have like a quote-unquote rival? Like, is that something that feeds more energy to you, to the team, or anything?
I don't know. I have a thing about this. We talk about playing 12 one-game seasons. Like, every game is important. I totally understand the rivalry thing, but I think like everybody's a rival, because everybody comes on the football field and wants to beat you, and you want to beat them. So, that's a rival. I think the other thing that defines a rival is, a balanced series, a series where, it's maybe split half and half. They've won half, you've won half. That's a rival. I think that can be a rivalry too. But I also know that I have a tremendous amount of respect too for the teams in the Big Ten, and I think all of the teams in the Big Ten are very well coached, good football teams, and so I think anytime we take the field, we respect them all, and they're all rivals. You know what I mean? They're all rivals.
Talk a little bit about what allows successful coaches like Urban Meyer to be so consistently dominant.
Right. Well, where do you begin? I mean, first of all, he's a smart guy. He's a mentally tough guy. He's won 2 national championships with different types of teams, in my opinion. He's obviously able to do it in different conferences. He's done it in the Southeastern Conference. He's done it in the WAC. He's done it successfully, obviously, in the Big Ten. So, there's a guy that understands what he wants in a football team, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I don't know him very well. I've gotten to know him over the last year and a half, but I think there's obvious respect there. Of course, we want to go out there and win, and he wants to go out there and win. But there's a lot of respect for their program and for him as a head football coach.
if you guys had Zach Ladonis last week, he came right out and played against Indiana. Did you guys have anybody else in that period? And what were you looking for maybe to add from that walk-on tryout period?
Say that again, repeat the question, I was
Yeah.
thinking about something else, sorry.
Yeah. You got Zach Ladonis from the walk-on tryout
Yeah.
you guys had. Did you have anybody else, or what were you looking to find maybe during that period?
Yeah, I think that day we had, probably 30 to 40 guys try out. And, I think there were 3 or 4 guys that stood out to us. And then what happens is, are they academically able to be on your team based on their schedule and all the things that they have to clear NCAA-wise? So I think that a couple of those guys weren't able to come out for the team, so maybe they'll come out in the spring, whether it's a DB or a linebacker or a running back or a kicker, you know. Excuse me, I think there was a decent looking kicker there that day. So, and then Zach Ladonis was a guy that I personally timed, and I thought he did a really good job of snapping the ball that day. And so we cleared him, you know, with the NCAA, and he was ready to go. So he was the one guy that we brought on the team, I think, from that tryout. That's kind of how it works.
Bill, a lot's been written about the hurry-up offense and the NASCAR, you guys' implementation of that. You said a few weeks ago that you guys have 3 tempos that you use. I guess my question is, how do you strike a healthy balance between keeping a defense on its heels, but also trying to extend your possession time, where obviously, you know, Braxton Miller and the Ohio State offense can't do anything against you guys if they're not on the field?
Yeah, great question. It's very, very difficult. It's really more about what your plan is going into the game. You know, maybe it has to do with field position, maybe it has to do with the time of the game, maybe it has to do with personnel groupings. You know, maybe there's certain personnel groupings where you want to slow it down, other personnel groupings where you want to speed it up. You know, so it's a plan. You know, obviously I'm not going to talk about the details of it here, and then once you get into the game, it's a feel for it. And then once you get a feel for it, then it's more about, to me, it's the players have confidence in it. You know, they'll even say to you, they'll say, "Hey, coach, can we speed it up again?" And then as a coach, you're going, you know, maybe we need to slow this down. But these kids there's a lot to be said for a kid that has confidence in what you're doing, and they want to speed it up. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and you know, again, it's a week to week, it's a different challenge, and obviously it's a big challenge for us this week versus Ohio State.
Bill, I'm supposed to ask you about Go Bruno.
Bruno.
Yeah, and more specifically, can you talk about your playing days at Brown? You're a defensive end, I believe.
Man.
How does that help your play calling?
What's your first name again?
Tim.
Tim. I'm sorry.
That's all right. How does that affect your play calling as a defensive guy?
Go Bruno. Yeah, Bruno's a nickname for Brown, so that's usually a text that I send to Phil Estes, the head coach of Brown University. I think they're like 3-2 right now, but so Go Bruno is like, you know, we are Penn State. That's what it is. You know, that's the we are Brown or whatever. Go Bruno. Playing days. I mean, I really just one of my least favorite things to do is to talk about myself as a player or myself as anything. But you know, I love playing. I love being on the team. I love being a teammate. You know, with these guys that I played with at Brown. We weren't very good. We were not very good. You can go look it up. We didn't win many games. We were in some close games, but we didn't win many. But so really, once I got into coaching, you know, I found out quickly that I didn't know a lot about football, and so I wouldn't even begin to compare, you know, how my playing days affected my, you know, I played defense, you know, so I played outside linebacker, and you know, as I gained more weight, they moved me inside closer to the ball, put my hand on the ground. I was a defensive tackle in my last year at Brown. So, you know, I'm an offensive coach, so obviously, you know, that's been most of my career. So, you know, I wouldn't even compare the two, but that's it.
Just don't tell us you had the interception record at Brown.
Neil, that is the most painful question you can ask me. You can ask me anything you want. You can even ask me about Indiana if you want.
How much more time do we have?
And I don't have the interception record. I think Coach Paterno had it, but I think it was broken by somebody. I think, but don't quote me on that.